Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, sounds like it's okay. I think the balance is all right. Welcome everybody to another impromptu live stream. I haven't done one for a while, so I wanted to do that. I did a silly one last night on the Beams music controller system. So if you want some music entertainment with some goofy music tech, go to my synthetic channel and look at the Beams video I put up. It's kind of funny. Got cut a little bit short. YouTube had a glitch, so I only got about 20 minutes. I think I went on about 30 minutes, so somehow the last part got cut off. But it was a good time. Anyway, let's go to this guy. Got a couple of different water samples tonight. One was from, it's been raining a lot lately, so there was a very wet driveway by one of my favorite restaurants by work. So just for the hell of it, there's like a mini lake in the parking lot. I grabbed a bunch of water from that, and that's what we're looking at right now, which is pretty boring actually. A lot of fragments and looks like crystals and plant parts and such. But you never know when you do these what you're going to find. Fix this a little bit, fix some brightness so it looks a little clearer. So looking for any movement. So far I'm just finding fragments and crystals. So you get these little puddles forming from rainwater. You figure there'd be some decent stuff in there because cars are driving through, their tires are transferring various critters from place to place, as well as birds and stuff falling out of trees. But oh, that's a really interesting shape there. That looks downright astronomical. That's way cool. Fix my adjustment here. Why is that so far off? Sorry, I'm just tweaking my my scope view isn't totally matching my camera view for some reason. It's supposed to be parfocal, but interesting. Anyway, how cool is that? It looks like something I would take with my telescope and a long exposure. Not just the star field, but this object right here. I'm actually going to zoom in here so you can see it better. That is a trip. Very interesting. Okay, let's keep looking here. Keep looking. Fix that chat window so I can see it better. Okay. Let's keep looking. Actually, let me fix this a little bit. This is still acting out of whack. That's better. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of those little structures in here. There's another one right there. It's like a little astronomical style formation. It's bizarre. Goes with the spacey music, that's for sure. I'm using that black hole ambient generator again because, again, I can't be bothered to make hours of ambient music. It's interesting, but very, very dull when you have to make it yourself from scratch. So yeah, I'm not finding some interesting chromatic aberration there. It's like some diffraction coming off the little bubbles there. Might be some kind of soapy or oily kind of thing. This did come from a puddle in a driveway, so there could be some oil residue from cars. There's some plant debris there. Looks almost like a neuron with dendrites coming off of it. Let's fix this exposure a little bit. So lots of interesting shapes, but no life on this thing. Like I said, these puddles, they form so quickly, a lot of times there's not enough time for life to be deposited in it from somewhere else, or to come out of spores or some other kind of reproductive cycle. Yeah, now the slide is already starting to dry up. See the water wall advancing there. If I tweak this a little bit, you can see it better. The old water wall. It usually squashes stuff, just like my poor amoeba in one of the last streams. Okay, so there's nothing going on this slide. That's a boring one. Let's make another one. I have a feeling that puddle might just be dull overall, so I'm going to make one from the other tube here, which is from another driveway by work. Looked to be a little more promising, but again, ephemeral little pools like this that aren't full of plant material and stuff don't usually yield too much interesting things. Although I had a good stream a couple months ago from some gutters down the street. Those are quite nice, actually. Alright, let's see what we got on this one. Oh, you know what? I actually grabbed the wrong tube by mistake. This is the same water sample. I just noticed I grabbed the wrong one, so maybe I got lucky on the second take. Let's see. More debris. A whole lot of debris. Plant parts and such. Interesting little twisted bit there. Nice little helical structure. Just some twisted plant material, looks like. In a little helix shape, like a ribbon. fix that exposure a little bit. It's a little bit off. Junk. Lots of junk. Here's some little guys moving. Tiny, looks like tiny little flagellates by the motions they're doing here. So we got here. Tiny little guys. A little too much brightness there, I think. See if I can go a little more dark field action here. And get them into focus. Very small. I'm gonna have to go closer. Let's see if my new, I had a damaged 40mm objective I had to replace, so let's see if this makes it any better. Fix this illumination. There we go. A little movement there. Not a lot of movement, just a couple little flagellates doing their little wiggly dance. Let me fix that exposure. Very small. They're so small and they're moving a lot, it's not really worth going to the oil immersion lens at 1000 power, but you can at least see they're spherical and they have a very distinct wiggly motion from a flagellum. Not a nice smooth motion. Get that hand out of there. Might be able to just magnify a little bit digitally. Let's see if that helps. They're also going up and down in the water column a lot, so my depth of field is pretty awful. But took a little pause there. You can see the flagellum moving out of focus there. A little swirly bit, like a hair. There's a bit of a greenish tint to it. It might actually be a single cell plant. That's a flagellate. Hard to tell at this point though, it's so small. But hey, at least I found something live in the sample. So that's good. Now it's getting way out of focus. You see it all breaking up there. There's just too much water for it to go up and down. But the new objective's working well, so that's good. Let's pick another sample. This time I'll pick the right second bottle. right here. Sample number 2, different driveway. See if I get anything better. Zoom out a tad. Fix the lighting. Okay. It's got a lot of junk in the background. A lot more different types of plant debris. Lots of crystals formed in this water. Who knows what was in it? You get people walking through the water, you get cars driving through it. More fragments. Yeah, nothing special in these 2 samples, so on to the better stuff. I have 2 samples from tried and true locations, so let's do one from one of my buckets in my backyard. It has plant debris ever since it's been raining, so a much more mature ecosystem. Got a little bit of color to the water because there was leaf litter in it. So it has some goodies in it. Whoa. Looks like I made a mess with that water. Okay. All kinds of goodies in it. Oh yeah. All kinds of little swimmers in here. There we go. There's one of my favorites. It's one of those little spiky dudes. I think it's one of those little Stylunkia dudes. Much smaller than a paramecium, but still good sized. Very agile. Look at it spinning around like that. A little more contrast to the shot here. Now if it doesn't move too fast, I can zoom in some more. Oh man, this thing's teeming with life. Oh man, is that what I think it is? I'm distracted now. I've seen Stylunkia way too many times, but I haven't seen one of these guys too many times. This might be a one of these testate amoeba that has the little radial spines on it. I think that's what that is. Look at that. Yeah. Let me fix the exposure. That's terrible looking. Might be able to do a little dark field on it just to show some contrast. Very nice. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Let me fix that. Let's go back to normal view for a second so you can appreciate the fix this exposure on the software side. So if you just do a little software zoom here, you can see the radial spines coming off this little bit of a shell that it has. And inside is an amoeba, and it can radiate pseudopods along those spines, versus a typical amoeba, which is a free floating kind of a blob thing, kind of like white blood cells in your body. Should be able to get a better shot than that, though. It's still a little bit washed out. So as I focus through it, you can see the thickness, and it has spines coming from all directions. Need to fix this exposure on this guy. If I do auto, it might fix it a little bit. Yeah, not so much. So all kinds of guys swimming around it, and from their motion you can tell they're well, there's some smooth ones and some wiggly ones. As you know, the wiggly ones are flagellates and the smooth ones are ciliates. Oops. Let's go fix this a little bit here. I've got too many windows in the way. Yeah, these are cool. Unfortunately, the name escapes me at this point, but you can see some bulges on it there. It's not completely, see that on the around 5 o'clock on the circle, and about 10 o'clock on the circle. There's some bulges. Those are the pseudopods of the amoeba that will probe out as necessary to get food and such. And it seems kind of pulsating a little bit. It just withdrew one of them. But it uses those spines as like a strut system. So the creature is protected inside of this kind of a shell, unlike a typical amoeba, which has no protection. And it can shoot pseudopods out on these spines, so it has a little more reinforcement. And then it can retract back into the shell for protection. Very clever little evolutionary tactic there. See that? I need more contrast to see that. It's not cooperating today. If I go back to dark field on it, maybe. Oh, there we go. Might get a little bit of. There we go. Now we got some oblique lighting. You can see the 3D nature of the sphere, and the spines radiating out from it. And maybe I can tweak this a little bit with exposure. And all kinds of stuff swimming around it, but so far nothing got its attention as far as food-wise. Otherwise, there would be. See that little blip right there about 5 o'clock? It's sticking little bits out and sucking it back in. There's a little more detail, a little more structure to it. Nice contrast. So you can see that it's rough looking because you're seeing into the guts of the amoeba through the transparent shell that it's in. It's just not a lot. It's pretty compact, so it's not like your typical amoeba. It's all spread out where the fluid is. If you look at my last stream that I had an amoeba before it got crushed by the waterfront of the dehydrating slide, you'll see it constantly has this stuff sloshing about in it as it moves around from place to place. But this one's confined by a shell, so there's not as much movement inside. But it still can do its business with those pseudopods. That one is sticking out at 5 o'clock pretty distinctly and staying there. It's like a little bulge. Yeah, this is cool. I haven't seen one of these for years. Never know what you're gonna find. Need a little more contrast, though. It's not bad, though. Could be a little sharper. I'm also digital zooming, so let me try, since it's not moving, I'm going to try changing objectives. That should be much better. Let's see. Let's do the auto exposure again. And that's not helping. There we go. You can see the spines really well. Let me fix the focus. That's much better. Yeah, that's very clear. Beautiful. I'm glad I put this new objective on here. Last one got fouled by oil because I rotated it into my oil lens puddle on the. You have to put a little drop of oil for the 1000 power 100mm objective, and it's meant for that. It's a sealed unit. Well, I mistakenly forgot I wasn't on oil, and I rotated my 40mm into the oil pool, which destroyed the thing. I cleaned as much as I could, but once it gets trapped inside, you have to buy another objective. So thank goodness I did that, because this is a beautiful replacement. Very nice. I'm gonna fix this a little bit because it's a little too. That's pretty good right there. So you get all the little guys swimming around, milling about as usual, on the spines, around the spines, under the spines. Now if you watch carefully, you'll see the pseudopods start to poke out. There's still a little bit of a bulge at 5 o'clock on the clock face there, and one around 9 o'clock. If you follow the perimeter of the sphere, it's got some irregularities, and those are the pseudopods poking out. There it goes, it just blipped in. Focus there a little bit more so you can see more of the structure all the way through. There it goes, there's a little bulge again. Might be just testing the waters, chemical testing, just to see if it likes what if it senses any prey out there, or any threat. Get this center a little bit better. Presentation purposes, since it's not moving anywhere. There's lots of nice little visitors coming through. Got some little green ones, which are clearly plant cells. Got some other ones that are different shapes and colors. Some are spherical, some are cigar shaped. Really cool. I think these are Heliozoans. I have to double check. It's been a while since I looked up this guy, because again, I haven't seen one of these since I was working part-time at the Palo Alto Baylands as a naturalist, doing microscopes out there and talking to the public about all the great stuff out there, the birds and the ecology, history of the place. And I believe these are Heliozoans. Helios meaning sun. It looks like a sun, you know, with the rays. So. There's a little bit poking out. It's funny how they hang out here, though. It's almost like they know that there's protection in the spines. Kind of like a clownfish hides in the anemone and helps to protect the anemone without getting stung. Oh, look at the spines move. That's cool. So apparently the shell is flexible. I thought it was harder than that, but the spines clearly just moved. There's all kinds of stuff hanging out here. Now this stuff moving looks like inside, but I think it's behind because it is transparent. You're seeing little creatures behind the amoeba. There's that pseudopod bulge. If I zoom out a different angle, a different depth, you can see the bulge. Again at 9 o'clock and at 4:30, 5 o'clock. You watch it sit there for a while, and it's going to pull it back in. Oh, maybe. Oh, there it goes. That is so cool. Hey, Manny, how's it going? You're just in time. I haven't found one of these guys forever. This is a testate amoeba. I forgot that. It's been a long time since I looked them up. I think they're called Heliozoans because it looks like the sun, Helios. And you can see the pseudopods of the amoeba sticking out. See that bulge at 4:30, 5 o'clock? And there's one at 9 o'clock that keeps coming and going. They can hide inside this shell, push the pseudopods out like a regular amoeba does, but along the spine, so it has some structure to it. It's like struts on a scaffolding and protection. And then it'll draw it back in. There it goes. Just drew it back in. So cool. I thought these used to be. I thought they were fairly common in the Baylands and some other places I used to do test in the water. But hey, Paul, just in time for a testate amoeba. Look at that pseudopod at 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's going to pop out and then it's going to pop back in. Only a minute now. And you see the spines flex a little bit. It's weird. It's like testing. It's not going out for some food or to attack anything. There he goes, and that goes back in. And it's got this whole menagerie around it, like they know it's a safe place to be because they're not getting attacked and they're hiding among the spines. It's very cool. It's like its own little ecosystem. How's the music balance with the voice? I did a quick test, but it sounded okay earlier, but I haven't double checked it. The spines are probably silica. I have to double check it again. They're fairly stiff, and silica is common at this scale. Like the so-called shell or test of a diatom is silica as well. So basically a type of glass, silicon dioxide. And so these are most likely silica as well. We're not sure how they're shaped exactly because they're pretty damn stiff and very, very tiny. So they're pretty strong for how small and how long they are. But it's just cool to watch this thing do its deal. It's not super active like a real normal amoeba Proteus, but that pseudopod poking out is just cool. It's like peekaboo and then goes back in. I haven't had a chance to watch it eat yet. It's just kind of poking and withdrawing. But it is moving. It seems to be moving because I have to keep adjusting this. Unless the water's getting ready to draw in again because it's evaporating. So now it's about 4:30, 5 o'clock. That one constantly pops out. The one at 9 o'clock kind of went away. Haven't seen any other bulges. So it has some preferred areas for bulging, apparently. Low on the music? Alright, I'll bump it up a bit. We can listen to that instead of my... Oh, I just saw some movement in the water. It might start to get evaporation time again, which is not good for the critters. Yep, there's the 9 o'clock one again. So if I focus through it, you can see the spines are coming at all angles, pretty much. And you got some, look at that, down here you got some bacterial threads, these bacterial colonies. They're swimming around. You got some flagellates, some ciliates, all kinds of stuff swimming around here. There was a zigzaggy earlier, that's one of those sulfur bacteria, like a spirilla. Or actually that's desulfovibrio. Spirilla is usually just in semi-stagnant water, but can also be in fresh water. It's not too old. So we can adjust the light just a tiny bit. So you can see behind something is spinning around behind it. That's not inside of it. It's actually because of the transparency of this stuff behind it. So a little more brightness on that. Bring some of the colors out. Now, as soon as I'm done, I'm putting off my hardboard jam, Manny, because I'm going to do it later tonight like a madman. I actually have tomorrow off. We're forced to take some days off for work. For a long story, probably because we're all going to get laid off, but so I have as late as I want to work on it, as long as I pop myself with caffeine. I did some early prep just to kind of, I don't know much about blues scales and stuff, so I found a nice 12 bar blues scale on my theory board, so I'm going to punch in some 12 bar blues into the Machina Plus and come up with some manual drum patterns with my finger drumming, a little bit of bass line, a little bit of electric piano, maybe some guitar riffs, pop, maybe live, maybe, I'm not sure yet. I always do some of it live, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, so I'll definitely have something, but it may not be what I want it to be. I just didn't have time today with lots of stuff going on. I didn't even get a chance to check out. I was sleeping during, especially yesterday, I was sleeping a lot after Ranty. I missed the Ken Spong show. Slept right through it. And so some kind of hardware jam will manifest tonight, whenever the hell that is, but I've been dying to do one of these, and thank goodness I did, because look at this little gem I found. There's a pseudopod again. Go, pseudopod! I want to see it actually consume something. It's like it keeps testing the area, but it's not doing any feeding. There was some other cool stuff swimming, but as soon as I found this guy, I'm like, oh man, I gotta stop here. So, unfortunately, the slide may dry out before I have a chance to go at any other critters, but there were some other nice critters on there. I think there was this one called Amphileptus swimming around, but I might have to miss it because this one is so special. Again, if you look at the granularity of the amoeba in this shell, it's not moving a whole lot. You're not seeing a lot of cytoplasmic streaming, any kind of stuff pumping around that much. It's pretty mellow compared to the typical amoeba on the move. When amoeba's traveling and it's throwing those pseudopods out to travel around and feel where it needs to go, you can see all the stuff in the cell sloshing around. But this one's much more tame. And as you saw stuff swimming behind it, you can clearly see right through it. So it's not like it's hiding anything, but it's just not as dramatic as an amoeba proteus that's swimming around. pseudopod. Oh, look at that! Whoa! That is so cool. Didn't expect to find the spines there, did you? That is that a Gastrotrich? Oh, nice, those are Gastrotrichs. And it got stuck on the spines. That is crazy. Well, this is why it has spines. Don't mess with the Heliozoan. That is awesome. So these are multicellular animals. Awesome little predators. They look like little hairy worm things. See how shaggy they look. And it's got little tails at the bottom, and it can actually adhere that tail to a surface to give it leverage. But I think it came in too hot and it got stuck on the spines. There's his buddy swimming around. You can see the tail out of focus. It's like a little Y shape. And it has these like little glue, like a little kind of glue organs at the bottom, and it can actually temporarily adhere to a surface and then let go, just like a rotifer has. But I think it got stuck. Look at that. And he's trying to eat these things around it. But at the same time, I think it got impaled. That's crazy. And even better, if it's stuck there and the amoeba wants to go for it, that's a big item, but it could probably stick out a pseudopod and start chowing down. That is nuts. I wasn't expecting that at all. But because it hasn't left yet, I think it's stuck. But you can see how shaggy these guys are. You can see the gut there a little bit if I change the focus. It has a, you see the whole alimentary canal equivalent, whatever, I forget what they call it in these guys, but in us that's what it's called. But it looks like it's trying to eat something, but at the same time it's trying to break free. That is crazy. I was hoping to find these too. I have some other footage I haven't posted yet of these guys from the zoo that I worked at. I had some great water samples from there with several Gastrotrichs and some other goodies in there. Oh, okay, he's getting out. Maybe he's just going for this food. He wasn't actually trapped. Sure looked like it was trapped. It's got some debris stuck to it though. See how the foot is, it's able to adhere and pivot, so it can stick that foot down temporarily and get some leverage. Twist all different directions. There's the foot. God, I love Gastrotrichs, are so cool. They're like little predators. Kind of like, they kind of move around like those squid-like things in the Matrix without all the tentacles, but the same body motion. Oops, wrong direction. Very nice. You get to see these guys too. So cool. And all the stuff that's coming upon it's just too big to eat. I think they primarily eat really small flagellates and ciliates and bacteria. Otherwise, it'd be chowing down these other guys. But if you look them up online, you see the photomicrograph of the body. It's just this giant, shaggy, wormy thing. It's just really, really cool. And they're just really fun to watch because they have being a more complex animal, you know, several thousand cells probably, they have a much more sophisticated body plan with a clear head and a tail. And as you can see, lots of flexibility. Man, so cool. got stuck on this guy for a while because, again, I don't see these that often either, but when I do, I love to check them out. But it's clearly feeding on something. There's his buddy. Hey! Usually I see him solo. I don't see him often in clusters, but one of the slides I made a while back had a couple of them on it. You can see it's reacting to something, either chemical sensing or some kind of physical touch it doesn't like. It's reacting and withdrawing. Ooh, there's a whole cluster of algae here. Wow, look at that. Oh, look at that. That's a nice one too. That's one of those euplodes. Oh, so much good stuff on this. Oh, is that a Vorticella? Hold on. I'm seeing some currents here. Man, this slide is great. There's so much stuff going on here. Oh, there's a rotifer. Yay! Look how big he is compared to these other guys. So, he's much bigger than a Gastrotrich. They're both multicellular. Rotifer's a much bigger boy. Rotifer's about 1,000 cells. So a Gastrotrich is probably maybe about 1,000 as well, I forgot. But Rotifers definitely. Kind of like tardigrades, they're about 1,000 cells as well. So, but see, there's the foot as well. He's attaching there, and then he's pivoting like an inchworm to move around, and then he opens up this corona thingy with these little spinning mouth part thingies that creates a suction. That's where all that suction was coming from before. It's from the rotifer. There's a cilia called Vorticella that does the same thing. I have it on one of my previous videos. Man, it's just everything here. Gastrotrich, rotifers. It's an embarrassment of riches. All kinds of stuff happening here. Oh, and there was a... That's not a paramecium, is it? Look like a paramecium. About the right size. Nice. It's one of those Hostylonchia guys with the spiky ends with the fused cilia called cirri. C-I-R-R-I. And a slightly different body shape, but good size, and very, very active, very fun to watch. Yeah, so cool. Like a kid in a candy store, I don't know where to look. What's this little guy? Just hanging out here. Oh, there's that little thing in the back. It's pointy. Whoa! That one is kind of like a vase shape. That might be an amphileptus, but I thought they were bigger than that. Damn, this is nuts. Well, I'm going to soak in this one a little bit more since I don't see these very often. And I'll quickly do another tour of the slide. This is just so much activity going on. Here comes the rotifer. Because he just dwarfs that other guy. Yeah, this is nuts. This is one of the busiest slides I've had in a hell of a long time. And lots of good quality stuff too, not just a couple, lots of same kind of stuff, some special specimens. Very nice. Not seeing a whole lot of activity from this guy anymore. Just occasional bulge here and there. Now I got a couple little bulges around 6 o'clock. It's a cool specimen, but it's not very active. Whoa, look at that guy. Oh, it's one of these guys again. I think this is that a Peranema with the little leadings? Yeah, look at that with the little long flagellum in the front. It's like a proboscis going out, probing for stuff. I love these guys. I don't see them very often. I think it's a Peranema. Ah, shit. Look at that. That's so cool. Just hunting with that proboscis. Some bacteria out of focus in the background. Bacterial colonies. Nice. It's cool how they just float through the water like ghosts, kind of waving back and forth. Whoa, look at that turn. Yeah, it's got crazy shapes when it's moving around. That's bizarre. It's the ciliate or flagellate version of air brakes. So cool, look at that. Looks like we're right back where we started from. Is that the thing up there? No, maybe not. Alright, well, he's cool, but I'm getting paranoid this slide's gonna dry up. Whoa, what we got here? Another one. A whole bunch of these guys on the slide. Going around doing their hunting. Stuff. Alright, let's go. What else we got here? There's a cluster of goodies there. I think I've seen all the stuff that's in there. Yeah, that's interesting. That's not a... It's not an amoeboid, but that's something else. Different structure altogether. Not sure what that is exactly. Fluffy than spiky. All kinds of single cell algae around here, clustering around. Some are swimming and some are not. And these little guys swimming around. God, it's crazy. So much stuff. Let's do... What else can we find? And Vorticella. Boy, this is the best slide ever. Holy smokes. We got a Vorticella here. his little stalk. Now it's coming out again. It's going to open up the mouth. Go, Vorticella. Do your business. You see it closes up those flaps, and then it's like churning around inside. You can see the stalk right there, attached, so it has leverage. Occasionally see them around free swimming, but it's closed up and doing some processing. So all kinds of activity inside there, and then you watch the top open up. Here it comes. So wiggles, 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 and it opens up, and then they start flapping those cilia around like crazy. And then it withdraws when it either gets something it doesn't like, or it's some chemical reception that triggers it. See the overall shape of the body. It's like a little wine glass. Structures inside. Now it's starting to spin. Now watch the vortex. Stuff is coming in. Bam! And like that other video I had, the stuff was creating these little vortices in front of it. And anything swimming by gets sucked up, and sometimes they get trapped because it's a really strong current. It becomes like a hazard. And unfortunately it's got all this debris nearby, so it keeps getting hit from all this random debris. They're like micro bivalves of the waterways. There's like tiny little clams and mussels doing filter feeding, essentially. Oh, too bad that guy's swimming by when he's not pumping. Come on, do your pumping. I want to see him get stuck. He must have caught something because it's churning away on something. But as soon as that thing starts going again, you're going to see these guys get trapped. They have to swim out of it like the event horizon of a black hole. Come on, open up. These guys are asking for it. Do it. Hey Gary, how you doing? Hey Pragmatic. Nice Vorticella here. You missed it earlier. I had a Heliozoan, some amazing slide. I got this guy, I got some Gastrotrichs, Rotifer, some Euplotes, ciliates swimming around. Okay, now he's doing this. Watch these guys get stuck here. Don't go near the vortex. He's okay, he's a pretty strong swimmer. Sometimes they get stuck in there. That debris not helping. So this is one of these lucky finds, rainwater bucket in my backyard, and it's been a lot of leaf litter in it, and who knows what else, birds visiting it, stuff falling out of trees, all kinds of stuff. So I've been leaving it there and just randomly getting samples from it, and this is the best slide I've ever gotten from it. One of the best slides I actually got ever, period. There's so many high value critters in one slide, especially Gastrotrichs. You don't find them every day. And I can't remember the last time I saw a Heliozoan, so. Nope, didn't like that. So it's not obvious on this species of Vorticella, but some of them have this kind of, some are more kind of spherical or oblate versus a wine glass. And when I was working at the Baylands and had a nice scope set up for the public, there were these really, really big ones on these stalks. And it's fun to watch the stalk because as they recoil, you can see the stalk coil just like a slinky, and then slowly relax and let itself out. Really distinct. This guy's not so much. He's more like retracting the actual cell body and not so much the stalk. So they're all a little bit different. But you can see the cilia going to town there. I'm tempted to go higher power, but then you'll miss the activity around it unless these guys get trapped. So we get a little bit more contrast here. There's a contractile vacuole going to town. It's got a little spinning debris vortex there. Let's wait for some guy to swim by and get stuck. Oh, cool. 2 a.m., huh? I have relatives in Louisiana. Haven't seen them for a long time. Just a totally different part of the family. We don't quite get along, but it's a beautiful area for sure. So Gary, you're 7 a.m., so you're not UK, right? Isn't UK 8 hours ahead? Oh, actually, you guys didn't do the daylight savings yet. We just had that happen today, so. Now it's closed up and doing some churn. Might have found some yummies to process on a contractile vacuole, in a food vacuole of some kind. It's getting disturbed there. So cool. Sample I thought was actually going to be better than this, but this is so far the best. I can't wait to see what the next one is. I actually have a bird bath I also get really good stuff from. Multicolored algae, some weird stuff. I don't even know what it is. I haven't had a chance to identify them yet, but it's these really interesting red or green or yellow algae surrounded by like this gelatinous matrix and then flagella coming out, swimming around. It's just the craziest algae thing I've seen for a long time. It's not colonial. At least it doesn't appear to be colonial. But it's got this, you have to defocus to see the transparent gelatinous matrix around it. This is really, really bizarre. Watch that contractile vacuole. They're almost ready. Is it gonna go? Here it comes. Pump the vacuole. Not yet, I guess. There it goes. You can always tell. I've had several of you. If you guys haven't seen my other live streams and some curated stuff I put up, you can always tell when these guys are about ready to expire, and then they start to dissolve as the cell membrane breaks apart. As soon as that contractile vacuole stops, this clock is ticking, and pretty soon they're going to lyse right in front of you. It's just very dramatic. Are checking them out. Like, what's going on here? He's starting to slow down a little bit. Hasn't opened up for a while, so I wonder if it's not doing so well. I got time to look for something else. There's so much on the slide I don't want to miss out. Don't want to miss out. Nice Vorticella. Thank you, Vorticella. Oh, here comes the water wave. It is starting to dry out. I guess we'll hang out and watch the Vorticella get pushed aside. That's always somewhat dramatic. Little dehydration wave. Okay, let's zoom in again. See what happens to this guy as he gets pushed away. There's the wavefront. There's already some guy stuck on the end of it there. That guy actually looks like he's ready to expire. It's not moving anymore. And it looks like he's getting ready to pop. Look at all the bacteria filaments in there. Jeez. It's crazy. Alright, here comes the wave. Hurry up, Vorticella, get your food on. It's about ready to smush that whole section. Nostoc, you mean the long filaments? It could be. A lot of the filamentous ones I don't know very well. It's been a long time since I studied some of that stuff, so. Yeah, it looked like a lot of chlorellas. Here comes the wave. No! It's gonna move the whole cluster. It's weird, it's at a different depth. Why is that? Usually it's at the same depth as the specimen. That might be some water on top of the slide. I wonder. Interesting. Usually there's a wave that comes in, takes them all out. It's actually passing below them. That's bizarre. Must be some water I have on top of the cover slip. So I do have more time to look, and I will do that. Usually get about 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes before the slide starts to get unusable with these lamps. There's a nice little dude there. Zoom in on this guy. Very nice, look at that. So much structure there. So you can see it's clearly gelatinous here. Changing shape. This looks like a euglena, the way it's changing shape like that. It's got some green, looks like chloroplasts in it. I'm not seeing the red eye spot, but very much euglena-like. Oh, there's the red eye spot. Okay, that's euglena. Very nice. That's a great slide. Holy smokes. Look at that. Just it's mighty morphin euglena. They love to change shapes like that. I got so much footage of these guys doing crazy, you know, going from a kind of a blobby spherical thing to a phallic shape to a kid's drawing of a dick and balls and all kinds of shapes. So much fun. Love watching these guys. There's a nice eye spot right there. Boom. So yeah, these are cool. These are, for those on the chat that don't know what's so amazing about Euglena, it's an animal with plant characteristics that actually has chlorophyll and chloroplasts. So it's a heterotroph and an autotroph. It can choose to eat, or it can choose to make its own food with chlorophyll and photosynthesis. There are some out there that don't have chlorophyll at all, but I've never seen one. But it's a flagellate, just really fun to watch. So dynamic. I have a close-up of one a couple streams ago, just in this matrix of kind of goo, morphine changing shape, and I got pretty close at the oil end, so it's about 1,000 power. This is only 400 power. He's moving too much for me. I want to comfortably go into 1,000 power. And the footage gets kind of hard to watch, so I'm moving around too much. Let's get a little more contrast on this guy. Look at that. Love the shape changes. It's like the old days we had the slime in the trash can, the gelatinous stuff you play with going from hand to hand or pouring on surfaces. It's doing its own little slime thing where it's pouring from one place to another. We also had slime with worms. They had like rubber worms in it. So cool. Euglena often has quite a long flagellum, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm changing focus a little bit, but it's not really showing up that well in this lighting. But I love the shape changing. Look at that. Gotta wonder what the hell that's all about. That takes a lot of energy. And if it's not eating food and it's not reproducing, is this just a way of having fun? I don't know. It's just a trip. It's wasting a whole lot of energy doing these crazy shape changes. And it doesn't have muscles to stretch, so it's not stretching. It's just very, very odd behavior. I always see this in Euglenas. Another one right next to it, another synchronized swimming. This one's bigger, so I'm going to follow this one. Oh, and there's a little Peranema kind of thingy. That's what it's called. With the proboscis. Go, go, go. Love these guys too. So much good shit on this slide, it's crazy. Let's stick with the Euglena a little bit longer, like this guy. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, this is the best slide ever by far. It's crazy. So you never know. Some nights are total duds, and you just find a few things. You're like, oh, I've seen that before. Oh, I've seen that before, and it's not doing a whole lot. And tonight was just bonkers. I mean, I've only been doing this for 2 hours, maybe not even 2 hours, and I've already seen tons of stuff. Normally it takes me weeks and weeks and weeks to find some of this stuff. But yeah, it's getting to the point where the slide should start evaporating more. I'm getting ready to end the show from this slide's point of view because, God, look at it go through that. Speaking of gelatinous, look at this going through that stuff. That's crazy. What the hell? My equipment's not as nice as Microbe Hunter, so I do what I can, but eventually I'm going to buy some better stuff. It's just, stuff's so damn expensive. I'd love to have a DIC scope. This scope also does phase contrast, but I'm too lazy to swap everything out when I find cool stuff like this, so. And luckily I just changed this objective. I made the mistake of plopping this one on my oil pool one time on the slide, thinking it was the oil, the 1000 millimeter or 1000 times 100 millimeter objective, and it was the 40. So I just replaced this one, and it's doing a hell of a job tonight. So thank goodness I got it at the right time. It's like making love to the gelatinous stuff. It's crazy. Hello, Beck. Specimen is a bucket in my backyard. All this wonderful rain we've had lately in San Francisco Bay Area, had got to make use of it because it's been pretty annoying otherwise, but we need the water so we don't have a drought. So I just left this bucket out there and it's been collecting debris, plant material, leaves. Birds are probably visiting it, stuff falling out of trees, stuff carried in by the wind. And I'm just letting it sit there, and it's not drying out. It's just getting richer and richer. So far the bucket is really earning its keep tonight. I haven't even gotten to the bird bath yet. And bird bath usually has the best stuff. So as soon as I'm done with this slide, I'm going to make a bird bath slide. God, look at him. He just disappears in that matrix of goo. I don't even know what that goo is. So it's like a couple giant amoeba just basically broke apart. But yeah, eventually I'd like to get a nice DIC, interference contrast microscope. But they start at like $5,000, and probably more with some extra goodies and stuff. But that's the ultimate. The footage quality and a nice camera on that is just unbelievable. And just some fluorescent stuff as well would be a lot of fun. God, he loves that goo. If it stops moving, you can't even see it anymore. It looks just like the goo. It's like camouflage. Okay, I'll let the Euglena have his private time. We gotta lower power and start looking for goodies before the slide dries up. Okay, so we got some more Euglenas down there. There's a whole bunch of them down there. We got... Oh, we got an actual amoeba too. Holy smokes, this is the best slide ever. So I got the testate amoeba and a real amoeba. Man, oh man, am I lucky. And a Euglena right next to it. Look at that. They're buddies. I should not be this lucky. So much cool stuff on one slide. There's some great pseudopod action. Look at that. So Manny, if you're still here, you saw the pseudopods earlier coming out of that testate amoeba. Now you get to see the real deal. There's a nice diatom below it, going to the left. There goes the Euglena, spinning around above. Bump right into that amoeba. It's pretty good. It knew not to touch it. Last time I found an amoeba on one of my live streams, it got the wall of water from the slide dehydrating. Just took it out. It came in and just smashed it against a bunch of debris. In fact, it formed this actual really harsh box shape. It basically squashed it around a form of debris and made into basically a cube. It's like a cube-shaped bubble of water trapped with an amoeba wrapped around the debris. It's just very pathetic. Poor little amoeba. It's relaxing. Amoeba's like a screensaver. Just kick back and have a nice view. Thanks, Pragmatic. Thanks for coming by. Come by anytime. It's nice too. You got some color. The algae swimming around. The little diatom coming up from the bottom. Got some wiggly filamentous colonial bacteria there. Well, let's see. Since we're getting close to probably the end of this slide, as it's going to start to dry, let's go ahead and have some fun with some oil immersion. I want to check out this amoeba. Here goes. Pushing down. Don't push down on the thing so much. Sometimes this oil stuff is a pain in the butt. That's not good. An epic fail. There we go. Now it's behaving. But that's not what I wanted. Where did it go? Oh, there's a wall of water. Looks like a wall of water's coming in. Oh no, that's the end of the slide. That's the cover slip. Okay, where are the... Oh, nice shot of the algae there, though. Look at that. nice. What's that in the background? Huh. Interesting. Where did the amoeba go? Oil's tricky sometimes. Pushes on the cover slip and everything kind of gets pushed aside. It's a nice algae cell. Very, very small. And not moving. Which these guys are moving now. Yeah, there's why. There's some wall of water that actually came through already. Messed a bunch of stuff up. I think I waited too long to put it under oil. Already had a wave of water go through and trash a bunch of stuff. What can I find before I change? Because once I take this oil off, I have to clean it. It's going to totally screw up the slide. Another little green guy. More green guys. What's in this matrix of stuff? Oh, somebody there. Whoa! Alright. Somehow the it's not quite being parafocal. The thing is definitely pushing way too much on the cover slip. That's not normal. Things getting squished. Wonder why that is. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, it's really not behaving correctly. Take the oil off there. Let's do a little bit of a cleanup. It's not good, not good. I will now make a bird bath slide since I screwed up that one. It was really good while it lasted though. And I was about ready for it to dry up anyway. It's been a long time. So let's get that out of there before it causes a problem. And rotate the wrong lens into it again. Let's try a sample from this guy. This is the bird bath. Hey, Beck, no problem. I know it sucks to be, so what is going on now? What is this maniac doing with the slide? Got some goodies in this bird bath water, so hoping this will be, this was supposed to be the champ of the night, but that last slide was the champ from the bucket. Let's see what we get here. Cover slips. Get out of there. Okay. there. Let's fix this guy so it's a little more presentable. Let's start with a little dark field. All kinds of stuff here. There's those colorful algae I was expecting. Let's go zoom in on that. So I'm finding these a lot in the birdbath lately. I haven't had a chance to identify them. But they come in, I'm not sure if they're changing color based on maturity or something else in the life cycle, but some are red, some are green, and some are yellow. And occasionally I find them free swimming with flagella and this extra thick gelatinous layer around them. It's very, very interesting. But they're quite colorful. In this state, they're sedentary. They don't do anything but just hang out there. I even zoomed in on before. There's not any really activity inside that's discernible. But they're very colorful. And then if I cruise around, you can often find the free swimming ones. Guy swimming through there. There's one right there. But it looks like the inside part died. But you can see this is kind of a sphere around it, and it's connected at the top. And out of the top comes a couple flagella. It's kind of like that little V junction there in the gelatinous. I have to defocus it so you can see it better. Change the contrast. See that transparent bubble around it? And out of the top of it comes two flagella. This one is shriveled up like it's actually died. Or going through some other change, but often it'll be that full round colorful sphere, either red or orange or yellow. This clear matrix, clear sphere around it, and then flagella coming out of that top where that V structure is. It's kind of hard to see if I make it too. I have to defocus it to see the sphere. And they'll swim around. It's like you go inside one of those giant air bubble things where you can roll down a hill inside of an inflatable bubble. It's pretty bizarre. I've not seen them anywhere else except for my bird bath. That's normally what's inside of it, one of those spheres. There's some more little clusters of stuff. Little flagellates bouncing around, tiny, tiny guys. There's one of the greenish yellow ones. Yeah, purposely have a bird bath I leave, just like the bucket. I want to get debris to build up in there. It's not filthy, it just has some like plant debris in it and a little bit of sediment from like stuff out of the trees and stuff, but this is what it spawns. Here's one again, but it also shriveled up. But you can see at about, see that little Y formation coming out to touch the edge of the bubble out of the left side of the colored blob. There's a little Y structure there, and they're actually two flagella coming out from there, sticking out, and they're usually whipping around, and it's steering this little sphere. So like the thing is in a protective sphere, bouncing around and swimming with the flagella. It's really interesting, like bumper cars. More little green algae swimming around. There's another one. This one's not quite as shriveled, but still shriveled. But if you look carefully, you can see the flagella. Okay, this one's still moving flagella. It's still wiggling a little bit. If you look at about about 10 o'clock, you see that line extending from the sphere just below the green cell there. There's a flagellum still moving, but it's probably not doing so well because usually the guy inside is a little bit bigger than this, and the flagellum's much more active, so it might be dying. Very interesting little creatures. What's this? More debris of some kind. Just do a quick scan through, see what else we're missing. More colored cells. More debris fields. There's another one of those little guys. So yeah, the bird bath always has, there's another cluster. Big chunk of something. Another cluster. Oh, this one's actually moving. Cool. What are you? This one's interesting. Wow, it's kind of small, but it's got some activity to it. Look at that. Not seen one of these before either. Utility. Ooh, it's really cruising now. Oh, we got a gradient. Okay, it's starting to, the slide is starting to dry up. When you get those crazy movements like that, there's a the slide is drying up. That's bizarre. It did move on its own several times though. That's kind of cool. There's the wave. There's a diatom. There's another cluster of colorful guys. Oh, look at that. There's the wall of water. And it's got some nice algae thread there. Colonial algae. Pushing along the cells and stuff. Yeah, this is evaporation. Ooh, that's a nice little guy there. What is that guy doing? It's actually tumbling. That's cool. I'm not familiar with this one. It's kind of a weak swimmer, but it is tumbling around. Whoa. Now this is where the stuff starts to get squashed as these borders encroach upon everything from dehydration. Now watch, it's going to pinch this one off. When it gets that much of a little peninsula, usually it'll start to pinch off this section. And then you have a little vesicle left behind. Oh, thanks, Gary. Nice coming by. Haematococcus, huh? Ah, interesting. I've heard that name before, but I don't remember seeing it specifically. Here we go. Now it's going to pinch off. This is one of the best parts here. A little physics action. It's going to get close and it's going to butt off. And go, surface tension. Quite almost there. Oh man, it's taking a long time. Usually, there it goes, bam. And now you have a little vesicle. It's like a little aquarium for as long as it can hang out as that little structure. But that stuff's also going to eventually dehydrate. Get these little pockets. These guys got left in the wake, got squashed. There's the wall of water advancing. Cannot be stopped. Not sure what that is. And you get that cool thing where they kind of ride the flume. They kind of touch the edge and kind of dance on the edge of the wall of water. There's one of those little floating structures inside the gelatinous matrix. Some more guys here. More guys here. This is a whole big curve of wall of water. About ready to decimate everything. Goes for a ride. Now it's getting ready to butt off into a little vesicle. All kinds of debris there. Oh, there's a nice little spiky ciliate. Also getting ready to get squashed. Right there. He's going to get it too. It's right there at the top of that little cluster. He's trying to get out of there. Sorry, dude, you're going to be butted off shortly. Here comes another bud. Like, no, but I'm a cute little hairy ciliate. Don't do it. Very, very long. spiky cilia on this guy. Here comes the bud. It's going to pinch off a little bit. You get this mixture of microcurrents going through there too. All those little guys are going for a ride. It's really wild stuff. Oh, it's going to butt off up here and down here at the same time, looks like. This little ciliate here is going to be stuck. This little guy right there. He's still cooking. I can see his little contractile vacuole going to town, so. But pretty soon he's going to be stuck in a little terrarium, little aquarium, micro aquarium as it buds off. This one's taking a long time to bud off. That'll be much quicker. It's getting closer up top. But it's taking a long time. Oh, he's zipping around. He said, no, I don't want to go get stuck in a bubble. This is taking too long. I was waiting for it to squash. And I was going to quickly rinse these guys into a thingy to save them. But it's taking so long. Well, that's been a good run. It's been a good a little over 2 hours, I think. Some of the best slide stuff I've ever had in the last year or so, or longer. So, if anyone's still watching, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate your cooperation with some information there and some questions and all that good stuff. Feel free to, if you're watching the replay or watching it again later, feel free to leave any comments or questions in the comments section. And I will definitely do another one in the next few days, if not maybe even tomorrow night, to take advantage of this great water sample I got. catch everybody later. Thanks again. And stay curious, and I hope you're out there looking at critters on your travels here and there. And I'm going to continue to get some other weird samples from other places. I have some other plans for more kitchen experiments, kitchen stuff on the fridge, and some other weird stuff. If you look back a few streams, I had a fun one with some fungi out of the fridge with sporangia and all kinds of hyphae and interesting stuff in cheese, stuff growing on bell peppers. Also had some fungi and lichens and stuff I collected on some hikes a few streams ago. That was a lot of fun. Ferns and other stuff. So more good stuff to come. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you soon.